Hey everyone, here we go. We're back in section 2-3. So that's chapter 2, lesson 3. And we're working on example 2. And we're just going to go ahead and find each difference. So the first one is 5 minus a negative 2. Well, right away, what I see is that there's two negatives right there. Whenever there's two negatives right there touching, even though there's that parenthesis, they're still touching, that means that they automatically become positive. So what we really have is 5 plus 2, and we know that 5 plus 2 is 7. All right, cool. Let's do the next one. Negative 3 minus 7. Well, what do we know? We know that negative 3 is a negative number, and we also know that minus 7 is the same thing as negative 7. So what we have is we have two negative numbers. And whenever we have two negative numbers, what we do is we just add the numbers together. So 3 plus 7 is 10. And then we keep the negative sign, because that's what you do when they're both the same sign, which is pretty much what that is. So the answer is negative 10. All right, let's go into the next one. We have a negative 1 minus a negative 8. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Yes. Do you see these two negative signs? They're touching. So those two negative signs mean that they are an undercover positive sign. So what we have is negative 1 plus 8. So that's a negative number and a positive number. Whenever you have a negative and a positive, you have different signs. And whenever you have the signs are different, you take the difference. And so the difference between 8 and 1 is 7. And then we just need to figure out, is it going to be a positive 7 or a negative 7? And 8 is a bigger number. 8 is positive, so our answer is positive. So there we go. 7. That's our answer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So now it is your turn. I want you to try these right here, A, B, and C. Check it out. Example 2. A, B, and C. So go ahead, and it's our friend, the lovely Pause Dragon. He's coming here to remind you to pause. When you get done, press play, and then we will check your answers. All right, see you in a bit. Bye-bye. All right, we are back. Let's go ahead and figure out what these are. So we have 4 minus 2. That is a positive and a negative. So 4 minus 2 is just 2. All right, cool. The next one is negative 2 minus a negative 6. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see it? Yes, there's two negative signs right next to each other, and those two negative signs mean it is actually a positive. So we have negative 2 plus 6. So that is a negative and a positive. When the signs are different, you take the difference, and that's what we're going to do. What's the difference between 6 and 2? The difference is 4. Now, is it a positive 4 or a negative 4? 6, 2, 6, 2. 6 is bigger and 6 is positive. So that means that it is a positive 4. All right, on to C. We have negative 1 minus 4. This is a negative number, and minus 4 is also the same thing as a negative 4. So that's also a negative number. So we have two negative numbers. So whenever you have two negative numbers, all you do is add the numbers. 1 plus 4 is 5. And then you just keep that negative sign. We're just like that. So the answer is negative 5. So if you got all three of those right, great job. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. And we are on to example number 3, which states we are going to be evaluating expressions with integers. So we have, it tells us to evaluate. Remember, evaluate just means find the answer of x minus y for each set of values when x is negative 3 and y is 2. So I'm going to write the algebraic expression here, x minus y, then we're going to substitute in negative 3 for x. Now, whenever you substitute a negative number in for a variable, you have to remember to put it in parentheses. So negative 3 goes in parentheses, minus y, and y is 2. So here what we have is we have a negative 3, and we have minus 2, which is the same thing as a negative 2. So we have two negative numbers. So whenever you have two negative numbers, what you do is you just add the numbers. 3 plus 2 is 5. And they're both negative, so that means our answer is also going to be negative. So there we go, right there. Okay, let's go on to B. We have x minus y, and we're going to substitute these values in. X is equal to 4, y is equal to negative 6. So instead of writing x, I'm going to write 4. 4 minus y is negative 6, and since it's a negative number, I'm going to go ahead and substitute that in parentheses. Oh my goodness, I hope you can see it. I hope you can see it. There's two negatives right there. And those two negatives means that it's really a positive. So what we're dealing with right here is a sudden case of 4 plus 6, which is 10, and that is our answer. All right, cool. So now it is your turn, ladies and gentlemen, to check it out. So here we go, right here. I want you to try to evaluate, check it out, example 3a and b, x minus y for these particular values. So here's our lovely friend, the pause dragon, reminding you to pause your video and then press play once you complete the problems, and then press play once you get done with them, and we'll check your answers. All right, see you in a bit. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go. We are back with x minus y, and x is equal to -4. It's a negative number, so I'm going to put it in parentheses. -4 minus y. What's y? Oh, y is also a negative number. So there we go. Do you see it? Do you see it? Do you see those two negatives right next to each other, only separated by a parenthesis? Those two negatives actually end up being a positive. So what we're really dealing with is -3 plus 3. So this is a negative number, and this is a positive number. So the signs are different. And we're going to take the difference, and the difference between 4 and 3 would be, you guessed it, it's 1. And we're going to look at the number. Is it a positive one, a negative one? I don't know. Let's look at the numbers. 4 and 3, which number's bigger? I would say 4 is, and 4 is negative, which means our answer is going to be negative. All right, cool. Let's go on to the next one. So we have x minus y. X is actually equal to -4 this time. It's a negative number, so I'm going to put it in parentheses. So -4 minus, I rewrite that, and what's y? Y is equal to 5. Okay, cool. So we have a negative number, and then -5, which is exactly the same thing as -5. So we have a negative number here and another negative number, which it means when you have two negative numbers like this, you just add the numbers together and keep the sign. So 4 plus 5 is 9, and they're both negative, which means our answer is going to be negative. So there we go. Our answer is -9. If you guys got both of those right, great job. You're awesome. You're amazing. You did a great job. Okay, we are still moving, ladies and gentlemen. We're going on to example number 4. It is a temperature application. What it states, it says find the difference. Remember, the difference is the answer of a subtraction problem between 32 and, so we're going to put the different sign, that's where we put that, and -10 degrees. So if you look here, what do you see? So we're finding the difference. Difference means we're doing subtraction between 32, this is the 32, this is the 32, and is where we put the subtraction sign, which is what we did there. And then -10 goes right there, like that. Now, do you see that there's two negative signs right there? There's two negatives, which means they're touching, and that's really a positive sign. So what this is 32 plus 10, which if you add 10 to 32, you end up getting 42 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's really the difference between 32 degrees Fahrenheit and -10 degrees Fahrenheit. So now it is your turn, ladies and gentlemen, to check it out with example number 4 right here. So it is your task to find the difference between 8 degrees Fahrenheit and -5 degrees Fahrenheit. So go ahead and figure it out. Press pause. When you figure it out, press play, and we will talk about it in just a little bit. All right, see you. Good luck. And we are back. So we're going to find the difference. The difference means we're doing subtraction, okay, between 8 degrees Fahrenheit and is where we put the subtraction sign. So it's 8 minus -5. And what we have here is we have two negative signs, so those become positive, and it's basically 8 plus 5, which ends up being 13 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the difference between those two variables. I hope you got that right. If you did, great job. You're amazing. You're awesome. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.